We are about to begin Dragons in Space episode 40. We have back the community tech tree, and we are stoked. We will be continuing with the stock temporary campaign. We're still waiting on one more mod to update. Once Near Future gets updated to 1.3, we should hopefully be back in full business on the original campaign. But tonight, we will simply enjoy playing around in the fast-paced temporary campaign. List you have on the left is the current list of functioning mods that we have in 1.3. So if you were waiting for any of those mods to become available, they are now functioning with actively on the campaign. So you'd be safe to upload that. You would probably need to find some of these on GitHub because they may not be available on CCAN. So make sure that if you're seeing these in CCAN and they're still saying 1.2, check their feed pages. You know how you can click the little link off on the right on CCAN to go to wherever their homepage is. Go to that and see if they have a link to get their GitHub repository because they may already be updated and all you have to do is put it into your game GitHub. That, without further ado, let's go ahead and get running. Let's close out this here. First off, let's just check. I may have some new settings from the mods we have. Just make sure all the settings are correct. First off, let's just... Doesn't look like anything in here to change. Alright, so here we are, back at the pad. Let's see, what were we doing last? Oh yes, take a look at the tech tree again. So much more to unlock now. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Miss it, miss it, miss it. Where is the thermal control systems? Do we have our graphene pieces back? Yes, yes we do. Hallelujah. I know what I'll be working towards. It looks like some Kerbals want to go on some suborbital and orbital flights. And we can rescue him later. We can probably do that when we're ready. This looks new. Advanced 1 and Advanced 2. I did not want those on. This looks somewhat duplicated. Interesting. Oh. I'll move that down when I'm clicking these buttons. A lot of options. I think I'll leave it on default. It looks nice already. Alright, so let's get back in the game. Load up a tourist craft. If we have one yet. I don't have one of this chemical. I have to make one. Yes, I missed that. Nope, no tourist craft yet, so we need to fix that. What do we have for utility parts now? And that is a thing of beauty. We're not going to design this in here. We're going to design a space plane here. We need a re-entry vehicle. How many Kerbals do we have waiting for a flight here? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 total. So an 8-member craft should be sufficient to do the job. We also got B9 back. We figured out what went wrong with the B9. There we are, a probe core. Need to toss that into a cargo bay for protection. The cargo bay can handle a bunch of other stuff too. Oh, and we got our thruster blocks back too. Now, our primary concern right now is making sure we have 8 spaces. Let's go ahead and put those on. There's our crew tanks. Don't care for science on this type of a mission, but we do care about communications. Just make sure that the probe stays in range. Ooh, we got that baby back. Just her too. She's a fast engine. We got comms, now we need some power. That should be plenty of power. A couple of panels to make sure that in space we're not completely lacking the ability to recharge in the event of emergency. Oh yes, and we have tweak scale back. Gorgeous. I don't feel too bad about putting these on the side then. Oh, this looks way out of place. I'll have to do them one by one. Works for me. Alrighty. These landing gear. Let's move up to here. Turn to the side like so. Looking good. Okay, so we need to just copy these now and drag them to the rear. Which would help if I were in the right move for that. Alright. And as before, we have to adjust them. There we go. These are a little bit higher in the back than the front. That's good, because that will allow for inclination toward liftoff. Looking good with 2 Panthers. Is what I got to work with for now. Remember, this is just a re-entry vehicle. It is not meant to fly in space. Although I am going to give it a little bit of monopropellant and a couple of monopropellant thrusters in order to get it down out of space if we need to. Can I replace the fuel yet? Let's find out. Yes, I can. I want to see some of the fuel replacement mods are back because I really need to be able to just put in a straight up monopropellant tank. There's all stock monopropellant, but not letting me. I'm missing something. Why won't it let me replace fuels? Thank you, Player Wayne. I'll do that later after this stream. Maybe it's where I haven't discovered the actual monopropellant tank yet. So what to do is this instead. Maybe there's something I can put in there to put those around it. Here, strut. Not work. Doesn't work too well that way. You just have to go with that for now. Go to Mark 1, scale it up. Ooh, that does monocrop. Perfect. Bye. Don't need you no more. I guess this one cannot be tweak scaled. Alright, then it's going to call for another fuel tank. Small adapter. Where is that adapter? Oh, here it is. That would be a lot of maneuvering for orbit. Way too big. Gorgeous and huge. Too big. Also way too big. Too vulnerable to heat too. That'll work. Now also got to consider the temperature resistance on these wings to make sure this isn't going to burn up. Don't know if we have enough lift. See how well she flies. This is interesting. I must be very close to minimum atmosphere for 2 engines. I'll have to put on a few more intakes. Oh, that was gorgeous. Perfect takeoff. This thing is very aerodynamically stable. Great drone. One thing I haven't done is I haven't put a hotkey for the afterburners on the Panthers. I should really do that. I say go away. We're going to overshoot. Just way too fast. So we'll just do a quick emblem. Very maneuverable craft. If it'll survive re-entry, this thing will do the job for sure. And touchdown. That was beautiful. Flies very stable. Crowd's stable too. Until you do that. No 2 seconds. Don't take 3 runs off the runway with this thing. Alright, so we got a working model. Need a few more intakes, so. That should give us all the airflow we need. Now we need to put on some emergency recovery chutes. for those times that things just go horribly wrong. I think that should keep it to the right speed. Not a couple more, just to be on the safe. And that is the wrong kind of symmetry. There we go. Test flight under load. Ah, goodness. Forgot the staging on the engines. And the answer is it flies perfectly fine under a full payload. No problems whatsoever. Question, how does it land for a full load? I think this thing can spin on its tail. See? Yes, it can. So elegant and beautiful to fly. Just amazing control. Even at low speeds. Easy liftoff, easy landing. Alright, so that proves that craft works effectively for its purpose. Question is now, will it survive re-entry? Next test will be unmanned for the purpose, and it will be a simulation for the purpose of making sure the vehicle will survive or return to the planet. How to deliver this thing? Hmm. That's a shuttle back in design. Problem is, our center of mass is not in good alignment. Not at all. That may help us stay on course. Or so I'm hoping. Staging looks right. Hey, Obama. Thanks. We're about to test it for atmospheric reentry heating. This is supposed to be a tourist orbital tour vehicle. I don't know how well it's going to work on the reentry, though. That's what we need to figure out. It's going to, if it survives, I've already tested this thing for landing and takeoff. It flies well in atmosphere. It did my original save, except for there's only one mod that hasn't released yet that we need to fully recover that save, and that is near future. So this is just a temporary career until we get that old save back. Ignition in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on, Thud. Straighten it out. Straighten it out. Straighten it out. Good job, Thuds. Stability-wise, it is definitely struggling. Okay, we definitely have a problem. Oh, how much damage did that do? What did we lose? Anything? Okay, I know what we're going to have to do. This is what we're going to have to do. Is it me or is that tail just barely fitting in there? It just fits. That should center our center of mass and our center of thrust if all goes well. Let's check it out and see. Everything is now in alignment. This should theoretically take off and not go crazy. Except for a couple of things. We need to anchor from the other side. Yeah, it did, but it'll recover. Just take some time. I never fail to take an update because you can't stand in the way of progress. If you do, you'll just get left behind. So my belief is just gradually, restore things, adapt, bide your time while everything comes out that's supposed to be new and updated. Staging still looks good. Going forward with the test. Countdown 5, 4, 3, ignition, 2, 1, liftoff. Now, the interesting bit is the Panthers for the lower levels of the atmosphere are assisting with the liftoff. You can see them burning between the major boosters here. And we're beginning gradual move over here. And this thing is flying great now. The balance is perfect. The aerodynamics are perfect. Let's call this a twin shuttle configuration. Basically, you have twin tanks, one on each side to balance things out. We're about to lose our boosters. Booster SEP. Booster SEP is clean. Engaging main liquid. Main liquid engaged clean. Continuing our ascent. And we have kick out on the jet engines due to lack of oxygen. We now have an orbital altitude for apoapsis, so we will cut our engines and nose down some more. I'll actually turn the engines up just a little for maneuvering purposes. Engage our RCS as well. We have a lot of RCS on board, or a lot of monopropellant on board, so great for atmospheric maneuvering purposes. Try to flatten this orbit out some. You ever done a configuration like this, Bomber, where you have two tanks? It's pretty useful. Also, what do you think of the graphics? We finally got even sun flare to work correctly. Orbit confirmed. Reversing our tilt here. Go ahead and get us some tanks for practice sake. Get away from them. And now we will attempt to go back into atmosphere. Actually, we'll do that from the apoapsis. Make it easier. Can't wait to get navigation systems. Out of comms? What? Ain't no way I should be out of comm brain. I have a radio on this craft. Rated for 510 kilometers, too. Must just be where I'm outside of the line of sight of the station. I don't have any communication satellites yet. Yep, that was what it was. Well, that's a pain in the butt. I should have used some of that liquid fuel and that oxygen to actually bring this orbit down some for this test. Made it faster, but this will work. This will make sure that I have enough orbital maneuvering monopropellant to actually get us out of orbit if there's an emergency. Whoa. Problem is, the apoapsis is on the dark side of the planet, and I have no comms over there yet. There we go. Bring that down to about 50,000 meters and prepare for re-entry. Actually, we'll do 45. Because we've got velocity down so much, it should be safe to burn. Now this is just a simulation, so we will be reverting after this to save time. Basically take us back to the day that we launched this craft so that we can actually do missions and stuff during that day. This is only to make sure this craft survives re-entry with its payload. Totally a simulation. I'm not ignoring you. More power! Yeah, he didn't stick around very long. Alright, here we go. Well, I haven't got comms back yet. That's going to make this interesting. We'll get to know the answer to whether or not I can re-enter backwards. Oh, we got comms back. Hallelujah. I think that's good. Oh, we're in plasma blackout. That's why I can't change angle. We just have to hope the body survives. Nose cone's getting pretty warm. I think it'll make it though. It's a pretty solid design. You got this, baby. Needs a pilot. If it had a pilot, it would have stayed nose down, because we would have had control during the plasma blackout, so that's something to note. Due to this being a plane, it will definitely need a pilot for re-entry. Good news is, despite its precarious situation, we have plenty of altitude recovery, and once it does get out of the plasma burn. Probably should have engaged the brakes before re-entering. That would have helped with the re-entry, keeping it flying nose forward. Come on. And there we go. We have recovered already. Well, almost. Got it. Got the brakes now. Our angle of momentum is really tight. All right, plane, you got this. You got this. And we are in business. Hey, Pi. Welcome aboard, man. We just successfully tested a return vehicle. It survived re-entry. Now I'm going to test its parachutes and ability to land on 4 landing gear. Since we're nowhere near the runway, these are the emergency systems. This is simulation mode. We're not actually performing any missions right now. That looks nice and flat. That is a very stable aircraft. 60 meters per second and still no stall. 57 meters per second and still no stall. 40 meters per second, still no stall. Does great at low altitudes. 40 meters per second, we finally hit stall. And we will probably lawn dart until the chutes deploy. Since this is a simulation of a crash, an uncontrolled crash where the chutes are going to be the only means of recovery, this is a good way of doing it. Chutes are out. Question is, will it straighten out the aircraft? We'll assume no control at all. No SAS, no RCS. And the answer is, it looks like we may need one more set of chutes on the rear near the engines. Otherwise, it's gotten it down to a good speed. This may still land upright on its wheels. It'll just hit on the engines first, which we don't want to happen. Hey look, a terrain texture line. Yep, just exactly as we wanted. Okay. So revert back to the spaceplane hangar, and we're going to add one more set of chutes near the engine. This thing will be ready to go. We will send it then on mission mode with its crew of 8 passengers. So what we're going to do is we're just going to double up on these. Looking good. That should land proper now next time. Okay, Kerbals. We need actual crew this time. And we will actually add Jeb as a pilot, get him some experience. And we are now in mission mode. And countdown them. Launch in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. These Kerbals are going to have the ride of their lives. start our roll over to a horizontal position. Radiators are picking up quite a bit of the heat that we're absorbing. And we have booster release, clean separation, engaging main liquid engines. We have excellent control. We have jet engine cutout due to lack of atmosphere. Afterburners are now offline. We have definitely achieved orbital velocity or altitude. Just need the actual velocity. We're close to that velocity, but we're going to wait for apoapsis to finish it off. So very close to orbit. Checking for available science. No currently available science in this area. Whoa. How did I flip like that? Was definitely not intended. Alright, we have orbit, and that completes all of our Kerbal missions. We'll wrap these up right quick. Alright, so now all we got to do is go back the other direction. And we have clean liquid booster separation. Moving away from the craft. Welcome aboard, Gohan Zeta. Now that the boosters are clear, turn around, start our re-entry approach. Go ahead and deploy our chute since they won't deploy until it's safe anyway. And time to belly flop against the atmosphere. There is our tanks way off in the distance. And our speed was already so low that we barely had any re-entry burn whatsoever. Now we are going to return to KSP, hopefully, with this crew. I don't know if we have enough fuel to make it all the way back, but we're going to try. Love the Panther engine and its maneuverability. Alright, now all we have to do is get back to the Space Center and we're good. And that is... how far away? Where are we? There we are. That is actually not very far away. Due to how much power we had left in that rocket to do the reverse burn, we didn't end up but more than a couple oceans out. Why is this wanting to go crazy at high speeds? There's nothing about it that's not aerodynamic. Like it's yanking to the right for no apparent reason. Oh. It's because it's got uneven fuel flow. On atmosphere. Why it has uneven fuel flow in atmosphere, I'm not entirely sure. I thought that all atmosphere went to all engines evenly. I thought they fixed that at some point. we're starting to hit Mach 1. For whatever reason, it's favoring that right engine. But there should be the same amount of intakes on. Oh. No. There's a missing intake over here. Did not mirror that intake for some reason. The faceplate hanger. I will have to correct that. That's the only problem I'm seeing with it. That's why we're getting an uneven fuel flow. I'll fix that as soon as we get back. Whoa. Gotta be careful on that ×4. It does not like to fly. It does not like to maneuver at ×4 at all. So, Bomb Man, how you been? I haven't seen you in a bit. Devil Nightmare, welcome to the stream, man. We're just returning a few Kerbals home from a nice, leisurely orbital tour. This thing gets good speed at low altitude. We're starting to ionize. Flies like a dart. That's not good. Hope you feel better. Any idea what's got you under the weather? Got a bug of some kind? I know a lot of people have been telling me they've been getting colds and pneumonias going around again due to all the crazy weather changes lately. Don't know if we're going to have enough fuel to make it all the way back to KSC, but we're going to try our best. We want to change it over to standard jet mode, see if we can extend out the range and get there. It may take a little longer. Oh goodness, who hosted? Thank you. Thank you very much. Curly Kerbal, thank you for passing it on, man. Really do appreciate that. Hey, Curly. This is what I came up with for my tourist vehicle. The only thing is, I messed up in the design on the design screen in the space plane hangar, and I've got 4 radial mounts here for my intakes, but then I goofed here because it is not mirrored on the other side. So now if I go up to ×4, I've only got 1 engine that works at ×4. This thing here, we just took it up and brought it down, is a tourist shuttle. You see the brackets on the top and on the bottom? They normally connect to 2 fuel tanks like you'd see for the shuttle, and this thing sits between them. This tail here is just small enough and angled low enough that it will actually slip under the lip of a what are they called? The orange engines, not the biggest orange engines, just under. Drawing a blank on it. I'm not good with engine names. It's not the giant Kerbal engine, it's the main. It's just the size below the main cell. Oh, I hadn't even thought about that. Thanks for the tip. There goes that intake. Let's see if it's... I think that did it. That did it. It's late. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, this is the skipper. That's it, Jade. That's the one I'm thinking of. Now, the design had so much power that it managed to get into orbit right about here. above, just a little bit past the peninsula here. And then it powered back enough to where it can re-enter the atmosphere here, and we've just been flying it back to the Space Center since. We've currently got a crew of 8 on board, including Valentina. She's not actually piloting though, she's just here for XP. No, it's Jeb. Jeb's here for XP. Hey Max, welcome aboard. And yes, it was the skipper, you were correct. I haven't even got much in the way of satellites up yet in this particular game. So I had some. Ooh, we ran out of liquid, and that's kind of sad because I can see the second runway island from here. Oh well, we won't make it all the way back, but we will reduce our recovery cost. So that's good news. And I don't think we're going to make it there on monopropellant. You can try. Not going to happen. Alright, so we'll just go ahead. The chutes are already fired. They will automatically trigger at the appropriate altitude. We're going to have a water landing. I don't think we're going to lose any parts. We should be good though. This thing is very, very stable, very well made. And we tested it earlier at stall speed when it's not loaded. It's 40 meters per second without any thrust. We'll just accelerate this now that we know that we're ditching. Almost made it back, just a little bit short on the fuel. And there goes our chute deployment. Got most of it back, Jade. As soon as we get the near future technology back, we'll be back to our original campaign. But we still have B9 back for the Interstellar for the accelerated campaign, so that alone has me stoked. Okay, come on, settle back straight. Apparently I went from having too many chutes in the back, or too few chutes in the back, to having too many. Now it's going to land on its nose instead of on its tail. Which tour bus? Are you talking about the Phoenix? Or are you talking about this thing here? I've got it at max warp right now. Unless you're slightly delayed there. Yeah, it's only going to be a 5 meters per second landing. As long as these back chutes don't cut too early, it shouldn't be a big problem. Getting close to the water now, so I'm going to slow down. Don't like the physics warp at that altitude. Come on, don't break up. Good space plane. You did your job perfectly. Oh yes, this is a tour bus. 8 Kerbals total. There they are in the back here. Do we have any science here that the engineer could catch? Why yes, yes we do. Bonus! Hey Jeb, go grab stuff. Never doubt the power of a random Jeb to bring home unexpected science. Okay, so we got some 38 science and a whole bunch of funds. That mission. Let's just go see how many we brought home. Completion award. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, got them all. And that was all the current tourist missions we had. We are flush on money. Did not mean to accidentally try to fly the pylon. Oops. How far do you guys think we can fly a pylon? If only we could attach rockets to that and take it to orbit, right? Recover, don't fly. Alright, so what's next on the list here? Well, first off, let's see if we can pick up any new science. I don't think we can. Nope. That was purely a money mission. Science from space around Kerbin, that should be easy. These are below. We could do these pretty easily, depending on where they're at. And finally, we're getting some satellite missions. Satellite missions are good. But we don't have any comm network yet. We need a comms network badly. And a moon survey mission. We can get to that too. Okay, so what do we want to do first? What does our time say here? 4 years, 4 years, 4 years, 4 years, 4 years, 4 years. I think they're all 4 years. Nope, 12 years. And never. See where these surveys are located. Good night, Curly. Have a good one, man. And thank you again for the host and for the raid. Really appreciate it, too. Very kind of you. That could be a good satellite position for a ComSat. And before we go around and do all these around the planet, something you need to know. We have the ground station's relays turned off. So what that means is that I can't simply go to the other side of the planet. I'm going to have to build PurbNet up. And thank you for the follow. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to work on that satellite because we're going to need it before we go to the other side. Getting just a little bit on the laggy side. Been in and out of the space hangar quite a bit, so we're probably looking at that turbo memory leak starting to eat things a little. How's the stream quality over there, fellas? Is everything still good on the sound and the video? We'll have to do a new one. I don't think we have a satellite formed yet. We're going to need a probe. That probe is going to need a container. Thank you, Jade. Satellite itself will eventually need a fairing. We'll put a little bit of flux on it and put a small engine on it. Good old Terrier. Too bad that's not a nuclear turbofan. I miss my nukes, Jade. I miss them so much. The ability to go forever without refueling. I miss it. I was so spoiled. Yeah, no, right? You got time to make practice and make perfect. Power. Choices. One tank or two? I think we'll do two. Yeah, toroidal aerospikes. I love them. Good old toroidal aerospike. One of my favorite engines. I think I have an idea how we'll send this thing up. I'm thinking 3 SRBs. Now we don't have any extensible solar panels yet, so to make up for that, I'm just going to use a lot of solar panels. And since that's near the center of gravity, it'd be good for rotating it as well as moving it back and forth. So we only need the four-way thruster setup here. Not a very strong thruster setup, but it's also a very small satellite. So we should be good on that. That should do good for a deployment system. Do I need a separator on this? I bet I need a separator on this. Let's see. There we go. That looks correct. Nice little ballistic nose cone there, and there's our top stage for the satellite. You know what would suck? We'll be setting up a comm satellite. Let's see what we need on it. Well, first off, without its antennas, but also without what it needs to actually be considered for the mission. Minimus, what's the one of Kerbin? So it's a polar orbit. Doesn't say it needs anything on board other than comms. Yes, this is going to be a communication satellite. We're actually going to use two types of communications arrays. First off, we'll use these nice little boogers that can fit right between those panels. And then in addition to that, we're going to use relays to boost their strength, because these are early antennas. They're not going to go very far, and we're going to need these satellites for a while until we can get some better tech. So we're going to do a double array like that. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, extra antennas do stack, at least for most types. Okay, so now that we've got the main satellite built and all its pieces, actually we should probably put some science on here too. Something, I don't think we have a lot of science to work with anyway, but any extra science is good. At the same time, I don't want to overbuild it for the mission. I don't think a junior would be appropriate. However, we might be able to get away with lighter science. I don't think we can even do pressure in space, so we'll just drop that one out completely. Oh, we can probably get one junior on here. We'll extend the fairing just slightly. That is a very egg-shaped fairing. Okay, now that we've got our fairing design complete, we now need a delivery system. See what kind of adapters we got here. We have Veraco Max yet? Yes, we do. Actually, I think we'll put an intermediary stage just to make sure that we can hit orbit. There's the tank I'm looking for. Okay, we're going to toss a poodle on here. Here, poodle. And then another staging element. And it's looking like a pretty solid design. Picking staging. Staging looks good. What do I got for nose comms? Do I have the advanced one yet? Yep. Do I have the slanted advanced one yet? No, I don't. A pity, because they make for great separation utilities. Retro booster, just exactly what this is going to need. I'm going to have to put it underneath this. So slide that up some. Position, because what's going to happen is when this fires, we don't care if these flaps, if these winglets survive or not. What we care about is making sure that this angles away from this. So if this works correctly, what will happen is the rotation angle of that thruster is going to cause it to peel backwards and away from the craft. Looking good. Okay, let's give it some support on the pad. Let's see the total delta V here over on the right. Yeah, we almost have excessive delta V for the mission. We don't want these separatrons firing until these are exhausted. About the same time that fires, these should fire. And that should kick in, and then finally this separates, then the poodle, then the fairing. Yeah, staging is looking really good. We do not intend this satellite to return, so we don't have to worry about any type of heat shielding on board. This is purely a very early satellite design. I like this delivery system. I may have to use it for later satellites. I have to make it into a subassembly. You can go away. Care, you can go away too for the moment. Trying to think if there's anything else I need. I don't think there is. Final checks. First launch will be a simulated launch. Toggling over to the correct mode here. I think this thing's going to be just fine, but I always like to do a test flight to make sure before I actually start spending money. What'd you do, Max? Smile on that emote is too big. You're up to something. Alright. Preparing for launch and liftoff in 5, 4, 3, 2, ignition, 1. Whoa! Forgot to put the engines on. Alright, let's get that corrected. Flight angle's good though, it's doing great off the pad. Despite the fact that I botched the launch sequence by forgetting to put the engines on the same stage as the clamps. Kind of embarrassing. I know though that I'm not the first person to do that. That's my only relief. Okay, so let's see, where are we at in altitude now? Looking really good. And that separation was absolutely beautiful. Love those separatrons. And we have liquid engine ignition, and it looks like it's doing fine too. We still have almost all of our liquid fuel left. I'm surprised about that. This thing could go a lot further than orbit, I think. We have slightly overestimated the amount of delta V required on this one, but better to overestimate than under and end up in the ocean. Now remember, this is just a test. We're not actually going for the orbit yet. I'm just making sure all the systems work, and so far everything's looking great. And the reason I say this is just a test, because, well, first off, I got the simulation mode up, and second off, when we want to launch, we actually want to be over here, and we want to be launching south. Okay, almost made orbit here. Starting to get down to the last bit of our Kipper's fuel. And orbit confirmed. Alright, that confirms the delivery system is functional. We have more than enough fuel to get pretty much any orbit that we want to, except for the polar one, because it's going to require a massive amount of delta V. This thing could probably even take satellites to the moon or to Minmus, so this will be a great launch model going forward. So now we need to do the actual mission, which is going to require us to accelerate the time a little bit till we're in alignment with the polar launch window. Well, there's a specific window of launch that it requires. And the other thing I want to do, this right here. No more launching on the bone. Now, before we launch this thing, I am totally stealing this assembly. Subassembly. Satellite Launch System 1, the earliest satellite launch system. Now hopefully it doesn't glitch when I actually try to use it on other satellites, because I've noticed subassemblies sometimes were glitching in 1.2. I hope they fixed that error for 1.3. Okay, we're actually good for mission mode, so let me update. We will get into the sky. And again, if you ever have questions about anything you see, please just let me know. Alright, circling around to our polar launch window, which is going to be over here. Like it's going to be a nighttime launch. Wait till we're roughly in alignment with this southern orbit here. A few degrees off isn't going to hurt us much. Now, it's going up and then down, so that means that when we launch from this side of the planet, we're going to be heading south. So I am going to be using the lean to the right key. Alright, liftoff. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have boost for ignition. Lean separation from the pad. Initiating lean. We can do this at low altitude because this craft is so well designed, it actually is great for maneuvering even at a low level. We accidentally tested this theory off the pad the first launch when we didn't release launch clamps properly. Unfortunately, the way it's designed with a four-way axis, that means that we can actually take off in any direction, which is excellent. Great for satellites. It's a lot of light coming off the sun. on the horizon. Yeah, clean separation and clean liquid ignition. Our first goal is just to establish a basic orbit. Once we have the initial orbit established, then we can work on actually matching up to the trajectory of the satellite that it's requiring us to have it in. The destination or parking orbit. Not quite perfectly lined up with it, but we're very, very close. We'll just have to make a adjustment down here at the ascending node once we get the orbit fully flush, which will be roughly the South Pole. I think that's orbit. That is orbit. Okay, so our ascending node is at 9 degrees at the South Pole. So we're going to fast forward to that point. And then we're going to fire direct south. Actually, where are their nodes at? I know what I need to do. That will tell me where I need to go. Yep, we're going in the right direction. Now, we don't have any navigation systems yet, so we're going to have to do this turn manually. On top of that, we're doing it while we're passing over the South Pole, which makes it even trickier. You have to go by this instead of by the actual node indicator. Have we lost power for some reason? Because I've lost SAS control for some... Oh, we are out of orbit. Or communications. Well, the good news is, we'll just correct that on the next pass. I'll have to deploy the fairing, let the satellite out a little earlier so that we can see the ComNet. This is the trouble with being the first satellite for communications purposes. Blackouts. Close to the down though, we might be able to actually adjust it here too. Go ahead and blow the fairing though. I'll just deploy one of these relays. I forgot to set them up on a trigger, but even just having one will help. Now we're near the descending node, so we need to be pointing at the ascending node. A little bit wobbly because of how long the rocket is. We're also, I think, almost out, if not completely out of fuel for this stage. That would be a completely out. I don't think that's helping much. Let's go down to the descending node and we will go ahead and burn the other way. We need that to as close to zero as we can possibly get. Make some final tweaks on the other side here. We can, out of comms range. I'll have to do it over here on the descending node when we're over ASC. Actually, it's getting difficult to do it at that other node right now because the fact KSC is almost directly 90 degrees the path of orbit, meaning that you're almost blocked off no matter which direction you're aiming. And there we are. Now we're perfectly on line with the orbit. Now we got to match periapsis and proapsis, or periapsis and apoapsis. So we'll wait till we are in line with the periapsis and then start burning towards the orbit. Now we want an apoapsis of 3.5 million. So our apoapsis height is up here. We'll watch that, and that way we can take a nice view of the craft while we're actually making our burn. Okay, time to make it so the curvin's to my right to make it so that I'm not disoriented. There we go. So 3,533,000 is what we're looking for on apoapsis. We should get there pretty quickly with this poodle. Almost on the money. That was a good burn. Okay, now we just got to go around to the apoapsis and then match it to the periapsis. Do the same thing in reverse. We need our periapsis at 770,000. Periapsis height is coming up very quickly also. I think I said it was 775,000 or 770,000. It's close enough. Okay, almost there, and cut. A little bit of a nudge. We should be on the money. We are already on the money, and the game has already registered that I made the orbit. Success! Mission accomplished. And the other message is simply one from mod telling me I don't have my config set up correctly because, well, I didn't realize it needed to have it adjusted. But I'll have that done. Where is that pointing at? Do we have something out here in space? Oh yeah, that was that first satellite that didn't quite make it to Jewel. Yeah, I was pretty aggressive early in this campaign. Trying to go to Jewel with no curb net set up. Alright, so this satellite is exactly where it needs to be. It's got plenty of extra fuel for orbital adjustment missions later that can make us some extra money. So there is no reason to get rid of it, but there is something else we need to do while we're out here. We need to see what we can get on science and send it home. What's our electrical charge here? Transmit data. And transmit data. And while those are transmitting, go ahead and extend all these other antennas. First thing to do when I get back to the space, to the vehicle assembly building, is reload this particular vessel and set up the action groups. Alright, so I like having my satellites in sensible positions relative to their body. So we are going to put the satellite with its antennas all facing Kerbin's surface. We didn't even have to use the last stage's fuel. We got plenty of maneuvering fuel for later maneuvering missions whenever we get them in the campaign. Might as well take the extra. Do we have any ability? No. Okay, so that's already expended. And I'm going to give this one a unique name so that we don't have to worry about having a million satellites the same name up here. And there we are. Done and done. Recover our launch legs. You know, that's one thing they could really use is a recover all button. For the pads at least, or for the runway, but not for the rest of KSC. Just a recover all for the pad. That would be good. Or recover all launch struts. That would be another good one. Alright, we now have enough science to unlock something new, I think. Oh, just an empty leg. That's the one thing about the current tech tree, is there is no hiding the empty nodes. So you got to be careful about what you spend your science on for the moment. Yay, another tourist mission. Orbit and suborbital. Okay, so next up here, let's go and add that action group before I forget. Now we've got one polar satellite right now, but truth of the matter is we need several satellites. Now we've got a mission to go to Minmus, and this extended ComSat satellite could easily broadcast back from Minmus to the surface of Kerbin. So as part of KerbNet, it would be a good thing to use. So I'm going to go ahead and go back into mission mode, and we're going to go ahead and do that mission to Minmus and place a satellite around Minmus. The good news is we also have tech there that's available to be captured. So we're going to go ahead and add a pressure. But I think the pressure can be detected near Minmus, just in case. Might as well have AllSat on here anyway. Question is where to put it. And I will put it right here, right underneath the temperature. Perfect spot. I did pick the action group. Alright, just double check. Yep. Alright, we're ready to go back into mission mode. And on to Minmus we shall go. And after every time we visit the DAB or the space plane hangar, it takes just a little bit longer to load. That leak is really getting to us. I love my flag. Alright, so let's find out where Minmus is at right now. That's target. Alright, lift off in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition, and we have left the pad. beginning nose over for eastward ascent. We have clean booster set, except for one that wants to apparently hang on to the owl. Spoke too soon. At least it didn't blow anything up. Yeah. That wasn't too pleasant. Orbital ascent looking really clean. Be able to park this thing right in orbit, no problem. And we'll be looking at approaching Minmus from the other side of Kerbin. Just noticed there's Minmus's orbit. Oh, somebody came in with a host. Who is that? Dr. Doof. Thank you, sir. Only looks like it's a host of one, but you know what? Every host matters. So thank you very, very much. Okay, so let's go ahead and accelerate over to the other side. Now I can eyeball most orbits, including the one to Minmus, without, at least in Kerbin's system, without too much trouble. So you won't see me use too much in the way of nodes whenever I'm inside Kerbin's system. I just go beyond experience because I've done it so many times that I don't really need to use the nodes. And we'll turn that off because it's delaying us. We're going to get a whole lot more science from the orbit of Minmus than we are from the orbit of Kerbin, that's for sure. So we're at our down node, so we need to go north. And to go north, well, we're going to need comms. I did it again, folks. Forgot to blow the fairing. Well, beyond that, I think we're just simply out of any communication line of sight with any satellite or with the Space Center. So we may have to wait for a window for communications before we're able to actually go to Minmus. Again, very early game. KerbNet is still very young. And morning, Dr. Doof. Good to see you. Alright, now that we got control back, let's go ahead and blow that fairing. That's shielding our antennas. Go ahead and test the deployment. Yep, that works just perfect. And now we have communications with our PulseSat on this side. And now where's Minimus at? Because we're going to have to recalibrate our movement here. Well, there's the ascending node, and it's not very far back. I might be able to make some adjustment to orbit. We need descending. So let's go to 180 here. I think we still have a very large amount of fuel left. We do. Alright, that's about as good as we're going to get there. So go ahead and flip over to the other side because we'll need ascending once we're over here. So we'll go to normal. Getting a little bit of a wobble because the craft is still a little bit lengthy right now. All right, Jade, have a good one. Have a great night. Thanks for hanging out with us. Pretty. Very beautiful. And why is it acting like I am in the atmosphere? I have no idea. Take it down, take it back up, and warp still says oh, I am in atmosphere. Not quite sure how that happened. But it's not a problem. We're not low enough down. It's an issue. Unexpected partial re-entry. There's the Space Center. Okay, we're back into orbit. All right, let's burn until that descending node turns to 0. Oh, went a little too far, it looks like. Let's step back. Minus 0.1 is about as good as we're going to get. Alright, so we're almost dead on with Minimus. And Minimus is over here. We need to be at roughly the point of the descending node when we start actually trying to get to Minimus. Maybe just a little bit short of it. Around through here. Okay, we are heading east, so that means we need to go that way. And initiating our transit to Minmus. And that's the last of our big fuel tank. Initiating Poodle. Big fuel tank. Plenty of fuel to do the job still. I have a little left over to leave it in orbit for maneuvering missions. And we already have contact with a periapsis of 615. Let's get that down some. Other thing I want to know. Oh, that's the moon. Ah! Well, we could go to the moon. That would be interesting. We also knock our orbit way off. How about we not do that? That may be a little bit too sharp. Alright, we're going to adjust slightly. Got distracted by the moon, didn't realize I was not on the right angle. Thank you for the follow. That might be a little bit more thrust than we want. Slow down some too. We're slowly getting it over to the orbit we want. And thank you for that other follow. That was Unit Opt. Thank you. I think I'm reading that correctly. Yep, Unit Opt. Font is not the best on that. And we have Minmus contact. Now the question is, where is the satellite orbit that I need to achieve at Minmus? It is at the equator, altitude of 141 by 996, it looks like. So let's go ahead and get that intercept altitude down to the altitude of the apoapsis. Close enough. We can correct for errors once we get there. That'll put us right about the same altitude we need to make the minimal amount of delta V to make the insert. I missed my alarm clock. I hope they have that updated soon if they haven't already. I'll have to check on it later. Ooh, this is going to be kind of tricky because we may or may not have comms when we get over there. Come on, Space Center, come into range. There we are, just in time. Now the question is, will it stay there when we hit periapsis? Well, that's when we need to burn. Yeah, we're still good. Alright, we'll now burn against our orbit, rather towards the surface. Oh, this goes in the other direction. I want to do a lot more than just burning towards the surface. I want to completely reverse our orbit. Doable with the amount of extra fuel we have, though. No problem at all. I'll literally flip this thing on its back. Perhaps this is roughly where we need it to be. Next to the apoapsis, so accelerate up here. There is a slight incline to the orbit I hadn't noticed from all the way back at Kerbin. But we should be able to correct for that too. A lot of thrust left. Now all I have to do is pull this ring into the proper shape here. Pulled that periapsis in slightly too far. Needs to be 96, and we have it at 82. So we will just give it a quick burst. Almost exactly where it needs to be. go down to the descending node here, and we will be burning normal. Although for an orbit, no, we're on a inverted orbit. We actually need to do. Or do we? Nope, definitely need to go south. And bingo. It gave it to us. We got close enough. And we are now in the orbit of Mimas. First flat, first orbit. Yes, yes, I know it's broke. Big money. Okay, let's grab some science. Transmitting data, and there is a lot to transmit here. Being tons and tons of world firsts. And that's all the data she needed. Note, the fairing is still in contact with the satellite. We haven't even finished expending that stage. That means we have a phenomenal amount of fuel for later missions whenever we need to reorient or reposition the satellite, which means it's a big money maker. Just like the first one we sent up. Let's go unlock some science. Got a bit to unlock here. These are one of my favorite fuel nectars. Get the orange tanks, but they're not really needed right now. Main cell is always useful. So is the spark. Spark is great for moon probes. But what I really want is that right there, nuclear propulsion. So to get nuclear propulsion, we're going to need these two. So I'm going to go ahead and get this for the big, huge engines. Cover this debris. Not sure why the sun hasn't been looking correct. Oh, if you're wondering why it's kind of glowy at night, I've turned up the ambient light so you guys can see the stream better. Currently it's nighttime, but it looks almost like daytime because of how I've got the light turned up. I'll show you what I mean. New feature 1.3, and I love it. That didn't work as planned. Maybe it only does it while you're flying. Check our missions. Now I'm going to take as many of these satellite, especially the polar satellite missions, as I can. PurbNet is right now very malnourished. We need to get our network set up. You can't land on Minimus and you can't land on Moon if you have no way to talk to your probes or your crew. At least with a piloted craft, though, you have the ability to do manual control, but probes won't have a chance. Oh, I forgot to give this one its name. That Kerbin looks like a marble in the distance. Hey, we got our lighting back. Yay! Must be that memory leak coming back to haunt us. Alright, let's see where that orbit they want us to put this satellite is at. Oh yeah, that one will help the CurbNet immensely. Very large orbital path. Where are we right now? Are we in a launch angle for it? No, but we will be very soon. This time we'll be going north from the pad. And we'll probably need all the fuel we can get. We also need to go rescue those cripples eventually. Okay, that's good enough. We'll launch from there. On the sides, man. Welcome aboard. Right on time to see me launch another polar satellite into orbit. We're flushing out CurbNet, trying to make it so that we don't lose communications. As long as the game decides to remain stable. What was that message? Yes, yes, I know that you can't tell if the Kerbals are male or female. Weird message. Doesn't really make sense to me. We got most of the old campaign back on the sides. Just waiting for near future to come out to 1.3. Once that's done, we should have every part that we had missing returned. Yep, and then I'll have the Phoenix 2 back, which I really miss the Phoenix 2. I miss my nuclear-powered space plane. Alright, this thing's already ready to go. Alright, this one is going to be going straight north off the launch pad because we should already be aligned for a polar launch. Pull it back and see if we bisect it. Come on, pull out. There we go. Yep, almost perfect. Okay, so we'll be leaning to the left this time going up. And starting the northern lean of the pad. This thing is extremely stable in flight. One of my favorite launch systems. Great for early satellite delivery with very small satellites. For those of you just joining the stream, we're in the process of inserting a polar orbit satellite as desired by a mission contract. What you're looking at is the Satellite Delivery System 1 coupled to ComSat 1. ComSat will be renamed once it's in orbit to indicate its designated role, which is as a polar orbit communication satellite that covers all hemispheres. We have clean booster set and engaging the liquid engines. Nosing over to horizon. We should have plenty of momentum to carry us to orbital altitude. Forming roll. Taking orbit status. Need to yank the orbit a little bit more to the left because it still wants to veer east due to the rotation of the planet. We need a perfect polar orbit. right on north. Gorgeous view of the northern continent right now. And we're now on a proper northern orbital path, so we'll just adjust course. And now all I have to do is match orbits. Literally perfectly lined up with the blue line in the back. Probably only have about 2 or 3 degrees of separation. And yes, we still haven't got the material studies from the actual surface yet, so that's the new project to do later when we actually get some decent atmosphere breathing engines. Looks like we're running just a few errors on some of the mods. I'll have to check into that later. We're now at apoapsis. I'll full throttle it, and hopefully we will have orbit very shortly. And orbit has been successfully achieved. Now, real question, how does our descending node and our ascending node look? Not off by very much at all. That's good. Okay, so where is our apoapsis and our periapsis? Well, they're at the poles. So our next burn then is going to be at the descending node, which we will be at shortly. Since it's the descending node, we need to go to the ascending node, which, one way for me to find out which direction that is to go into craft view and look with the nav HUD. We'll go ahead and blow this fairing because we no longer need it. Turn on the comms array, turn on our RCS to help us with maneuver. It will wobble a little before we jettison this last stage because the craft is simply so long. Alright, what we want to do now is we want to have a, if you drew a line between center of curve and descending node, when we get to that point on the orbit, we're going to want to burn normal. That'll get us the proper alignment with the orbit before we accelerate the range, bring it into proper height, altitude, apoapsis, and periapsis wise. Almost in alignment, not quite there yet. Bang. Okay, so now we need to watch the descending node until it hits 0. Or NA. Both work. 0 is good enough though. Alright, so next burn we're going to make is at the apoapsis to get it to bring up the orbit to the periapsis, which will be at 7.75 million. So I will need to bring this around to proapsis, or prograde orbit. Okay, now that we are on prograde, we just got to wait until we hit the periapsis to burn. Wait till we are lined up with the apoapsis and the planet to burn towards the periapsis. It's a bit confusing. but easily done. Okay, so almost there. That looks about right. One problem though, I don't think we got comms. Both satellites are unfortunately on the wrong side of the planet. We'll have to wait till we come back around. We'll have to do the apoapsis burn first from periapsis down here. Assuming we still have communications at the point that we come around. Good news is we're now locked on the right orbit. The planet can rotate beneath us. We don't care anymore about that. As long as we keep on this orbit. There we go. Okay, so are we in line with the periapsis? Yes, close enough. Now, the further we get away from the planet, this communications issue isn't going to be as much of a problem because we'll have angle of sight in our favor. Oh, we just lost our big tank. It just finished up, so we will separate now. Engage the poodle. Get ourselves properly reoriented here. Resume the burn. Now, if you go above the prograde, it takes the orbit this way. If you go below it, it takes it that way. We need to have the apoapsis hit directly on the apoapsis, so it's going to take a little bit of fine maneuvering control to make sure it goes where it needs to go. We need 8372, being a little bit above it, so let's bring it back down. Don't get much closer than that. Okay, now we just got to wait to apoapsis and burn prograde again. Now we need periapsis to match 775. Not quite a perfectly circular orbit, but it's close. Oops, I went past it. Might still be able to get it though. It's close enough that we'll still have the burn fuel. Just a matter of getting the right angle. and we got it. At least I thought we got it. Oh yeah, we got it. Just delayed. Okay, so now I have another major communication set, one in a position that can serve as a much better relay. I should put the name of the planet first. Or the body. There we go. Matter of fact, let's go do that on all the satellites, make sure they're all properly named. Don't want to lose track of where they're at. That'd be annoying. Yep, they're all following the proper nomenclature. And these two are almost at 90-degree angles, so that's going to help immensely in terms of our communications. Keeping line of sight to curb net. Ladies and gentlemen, I have an early day tomorrow. I actually have to go house hunting at about 10:30 a.m., which is about 5 hours away. Got to get up before at 9:30, but I get to sleep later that evening. So I'm going to have to wrap up at this point. It's been a pleasure broadcasting to you, and I hope you've enjoyed the stream so far. If you've liked what you've seen, go ahead and hit the follow button. I'll be happy to have you back. I'm sorry, I do not understand Russian. Let me see if I can translate that. Oh, hello. Good night, homicides. We should shut up just a little bit earlier. We've got a lot done on this campaign tonight, but there's a very good possibility of Nirta, which is the moderator on Kerbal Forums, or the community mod administrator for near future. If he happens to get that 1.3 done, we could possibly be back on our old campaign tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to that. I do know that it's coming soon. He's already got Community Tech Tree done as of today, so he no longer has that to have to work on. Have a great night, folks.